A recognition has been made that we also have to look at what the scripture tells us, that in as much as we look after the spiritual part of many people that are inside this church and outside this church, we also have a responsibility to understand when the scripture says you must be in health just as your soul prospers. So in other words, we have to look at all three facets of a human being as we know it. The spiritual, of course, that you are a spirit that lives in a body that has a soul. So we look after the spiritual, and all the people who come here and the prayers that we have and everything else that we do, the deliverance that we conduct is all about the spiritual. But we also have to look after the mental, or you have to look after the soul. And it is for that reason that you have heard announcements being made of people who are encouraged to go and learn more about counseling, because counseling is more about the mind, is about the will, is about how the mind functions, the emotions, and all the matters that influence behavior from that point of view. What has been lacking is a physical or looking after the body. And I'm standing here now to say the church has finally come up with a plan on how to look after the physical aspect of our total health so that we can prosper in all areas just as the soul prospers. So in that regard, therefore, the church is going to establish within itself a healthcare unit that is going to look specifically after the healthcare from the physical side point of view. And that healthcare unit is going to launch itself. And it's going to launch itself with an event that is going to take place on the 26th of October in this church on these premises. That is what we are going to call traditionally and annually the CFC PUSH Wellness Day. Now, on that day, we are going to be looking at two major teachings that we find from the scriptures, where Jesus tells his disciples that they must be watchful. So we are going to teach people on how they must be watchful, and by being watchful, they have to be vigilant. They have to they must watch those things that might threaten their health. Those things that they do, those things that they don't do, lack of exercise, engaging in habits that might put their health in danger, and all of those things. So and also we'll be watchful in the sense that we also want people to know and understand their numbers. We want you to understand your weight, your height as it relates to the body mass index, which can influence many things within your health. We want you to know your blood pressure. We want you to know your blood glucose. And where possible, we want you to know your status of your breasts if you are a woman, just to check if there are no lumps which might indicate early beginnings of cancer. We want men to look at their PSAs to see if they don't have early beginnings of prostate cancer, and many other things that we can test on that day so that we just know and understand your physical health status. That's the one thing, being watchful and being vigilant. The other is also coming from the scriptures, Hosea 4:6, which says, "My people perish but for lack of knowledge." We'll also be providing a lot of teaching in various forms, in pamphlets, in small snippets of audio visuals, and many other things, where we wanted to empower you to know and understand how your body functions so that you can avoid avoidable medical conditions that we find so common in this part of the world. So that as we do the spiritual work and as we do the work on the counseling, that we can also empower you so that you can do all of the things that you need to do. And where you need support, and there are many people who need support for various conditions that they are suffering from, whether it is cancer, whether it is hypertension, whether you are just battling with your weight, or you're also battling with many other health-related issues that could be of a mental nature. Counseling is sometimes not the only answer. Sometimes you need to have psychiatric services. So all of those services, we are going to introduce them on that day. So we want you to come in big numbers on that day. Invite people from your families, from your neighborhood, from where you work. It's going to be a big day at CFC PUSH, and this is going to be an annual event. And when I finish what I'm doing here, as was already announced, every healthcare worker in the church is encouraged to participate. So I will meet you with some of the people who will be working with us, particularly Pastor Faith Mulanta, Dr. Faith Mulanta, who is one of the major coordinators and instigators of this project. we'll be meeting with you upstairs so that we can begin to work and organize ourselves to make this day big, to launch this in a very big way, and to ensure that this annual event will be a successful event. See you later, and see you definitely on the 26th of October. Thank you very much, Pastor.